to another stream, everybody. So today we got a special. We're not, in fact, talking all that much about Pirate Software directly. Yay! No, today we are talking about critique of Pirate Software because it was so incredibly odd and strange in so many ways that I wanted to talk about it. Crazy, yeah? Come out of my mouth. Nancy. So, give me just a second to get a hat trap. Okay, that would have been good to like pause the music kind of in there. That was Slave to the System from was that Red Alert? No. Tiberium Dawn. That was the remastered version. From the remaster. I think that was the bonus track. Not sure. Very good. Anyway. Let's get Forgive Me Father 2 on the screen. Yeah, so I watched a couple people watch this, like bits and pieces of it, because I was really like unsure of like, oh, it's another Pirate Software video going over a piece of the history that I'm like not super familiar with. Sure, let's watch it. Let's see what happens. And then it turns out to be like very weird. It's kind of hard to it's not super hard to describe, but it's like every single aspect of it is strange. And it's from somebody who's not, as far as I understand, super into the drama sphere. It's from a person called Lady Decade. And they're, I want to say they're an OnlyFans person. So they have like, they're jumping into Pirate Software, and you can see this is like this blew the fuck up. I don't know how they have 150,000 subscribers unless it's exclusively from this video, and people are like, oh, it's a lady, I gotta subscribe. It's like the altars. I actually am interested in that. Never heard of Tides of Annihilation. Pirate Software views, Naughty Dog views, Microsoft. Like it's very much like gaming news related. Excuse me. And there's very few like big blowout videos. And then all of a sudden it goes from like kind of video games rage baiting, and it jumps right into Pirate Software banging out almost 500,000 views in 3 days. Every time I start a stream, and about like I think every 2 hours into a stream, I get a bot on Kick, and it throws me off a little bit. So anyway, we're gonna watch the video because it weirded me out.
The internet is currently obsessed with the Stop Killing Games movement, and for good reason. It's one of those rare moments where gamers across platforms
Also, Automatic L, British,
have actually united to push back against the aggressive, short-sighted business practices of major publishers. But not all of the drama has come from inside the house, because while most of the gaming world was busy demanding basic consumer rights, one developer, Pirate Software's Jason Thor Hall,
I mean, that's a bit presumptuous to call him a developer, but it's one of those things, and maybe it's just something because like I watch a lot of streamers. Her voice is almost a little too perfect. There's few like inflections or like tones of emotion in there, and it throws me off a little bit. because I'm used to people getting like kind of angry, Finny rage, you know, that kind of thing. And so watching this, it's odd.
Managed to get himself buried under a mountain of backlash after weighing in on the campaign with a take that, let's just say, didn't land. His criticism of the movement quickly spiraled into a PR disaster. He was accused of misleading the public, using the cause to quietly serve his own interests, and delivering it all in a smug, condescending tone that rubbed people the wrong way. His calm but smarmy delivery, full of vague fear-mongering technical half-truths, and a tone that suggested he always knew better than everyone else, turned audiences off fast.
No? What? What is she talking about? No. This situation has almost entirely been, like, successful due to counter-opping pirate software. It's, like, had nothing to do with his own flaws, really. I mean, that's, like, the source of a lot of dismay from his audience. But only in the sense that they have to be presented with somebody else, like, talking about him. For them to, like, realize, oh, Thor is kind of, like, fucked up and weird. I think a lot of the people who heard about him being smug didn't care, because, like, yeah, the first time they didn't care.
In the eyes of many, he went from advocate to opportunist practically overnight. But here's the thing. This wasn't the first time Thor's behaviour sparked backlash. While the Stop Killing Games debacle marked a shift in how the internet saw him, it didn't come out of nowhere. If you rewind back more than half a decade, there's another incident, one that's mostly faded from memory, but...
So that's also something that makes me think, like, this is AI. So, okay, that's the big thing. I think this is AI. Scripting-wise, it seems a bit AI-generated. Because this wasn't a decade ago. This was, like, 7 years ago? I think it was 2016. Wait, so that's 9. Jesus Christ. So it's not even a decade. And besides, like, the inflection, I think this person may have trained an AI on her own voice, which is fine. You're allowed to do that, don't get me wrong. It's just an odd video in so many ways.
Now feels strangely familiar in hindsight. Even back then, Thor was already shaping narratives that cast himself as morally and intellectually above the critics. The only real difference, he wasn't famous yet, so the spotlight moved on quickly. But now, with his online persona fully formed and the mask long since slipped, it's worth revisiting that forgotten drama, the one where Thor picked a very public fight with game theory and viewed through the lens of his much more recent controversies. What once seemed like just another indie dev tantrum now reads as something much more calculated. I'm Lady Decade, and this is the time that Pirate Software tried to cancel game theory. Modern gaming is an absolute mess. Bloated budgets, live service trash, and Ubisoft...
Wait, I need to pause and listen to that.
Still somehow churning out the same old rubbish.
I'm trying to figure out if that has the Portal 2 radio soundtrack in the background. It almost sounds like it.
In different hats every year, but thankfully not everything in the industry is rotting from the inside out, because if you know where to look, you can still get your hands on genuinely brilliant games without selling a kidney. I've got huge...
Maybe it's not. Also, what the fuck? Mai Shiranui from fucking King of Fighters. Get her off the
discounts
screen.
right now. On
Also, she's promoting discounts. It's very, like, Bellular News-esque. This feels like the female version of Bellular News. Oh. The rock. There's a grot there. And so that kind of, like, I guess throws me off, because Bellular News, like, takes breaths. And I feel like she edits out the breaths, and for that, I feel like that comes across as a bit more natural. And this has like a lot of like, use my discount, buy my Patreon, look at my cosplays. You could see me in a little dirtier way in the Patreon down below, and it's just like kind of weird. It's just like very odd, especially when dipping into like drama.
all of of the must-play titles from the last 12 months. We're talking Cellblade, Expedition 33, Black Myth, Wukong, and even the jaw-droppingly gorgeous Wu Chang Fallen Feathers released this week. So, if you're tired of
I don't know.
garbage,
I literally don't know of anyone. Okay, I actually did have Wu Chang Fallen Feathers on my like. Oh, this is like a decent looking game at I'm gonna say Comic-Con at Summer Games Fest. But like I don't actually know gamers who play like half of these games. I like Claire, sure, but like Wu Chang, I don't know.
and want the good stuff without breaking the bank, click my links down below.
Yeah, it's just like that
Jason
weird.
Thorhall, what
So this is like a thing. Okay, I know I'm pausing a lot, but I feel like context. This is a thing of like very old, like Let's Play channels did, is they would use their channel as like an advertising service for games and like game purchasing websites. So I think even on like Total Biscuit's channel, you would see like GOG or Green Man Gaming. I want to say The Escapist did so as well. But on like sketchier websites or not websites, sketchier like channels, I guess, or like smaller ones, would often advertise like G2A or there was another one. It was like kind of similar to GameFly or had like a GameFire, I think it was called. Dude, what the fuck? This laser is blowing my eyes out. And that feels very similar to what she's doing, because I want to say like her discount codes are for like it's for like a really obscure gaming purchasing website. She probably earns like a decent bit of commission, but like, yeah.
wants to be seen as the wise indie developer, the honest man in a dishonest industry, the guy with the answers. But time and time again, he's shown us, or at least many believe, what he really is. A charlatan with a chip on his shoulder who manufactures contrarian viewpoints for clout and doubles down at the moment anyone asks follow-up questions.
I don't know of what he's really been contrarian on besides like dramas that he's directly involved in.
Unnatural, as if they don't belong here.
Trying to think of one. He likes MMOs. I don't know. It feels like not. It feels contrarian to dislike MMOs in a way, because like all the biggest streamers are playing them, or have like some kind of MMO investment, like Asmongold, right? Or like a bunch of people play like Final Fantasy 14. He plays fucking Dune.
Back in 2019, Pirate Software was still relatively niche, best known for his in-development game Heartbound and his candid live streams about game development. Thor had built a small but loyal following on Twitch and YouTube.
This is how you peel a hot dog. This is how you peel a hot dog.
That kind of stream, is that what you're talking about? That's another thing. The editing seems just a bit off too.
At the time, he was more of a behind-the-scenes figure in the indie scene, a developer sharing tips, frustrations, and progress updates rather than the internet's personality he's become today. His influence was growing, but he hadn't yet entered the broader public consciousness or sparked the kind of backlash we've seen in more recent years. Which is why when YouTube mega channel Game Theory spotlighted his tiny indie game, you would think that was his lucky day. To put that into perspective, I've personally been paid
yeah.
four-figure sums on my own humble little channel.
Hi, Officer May. Right, I think that's the officer's name. Yeah, the editing is like kind of fucked up. There's a lot of stuff that she could be putting in here and isn't. It's almost like a get it out as fast as you can thing. I can see that also being the case, or like the weird editing. Because I doubt, like, with her previous stuff that she planned for this to get more than, like, 50,000 views at most. Hitting, like, 400k that quickly is probably very odd for her, I imagine. I don't mean to be mean, but, like, just on averages, you know, when you're on a channel, you kind of know around about what you should expect to be getting. And, like, you can kind of figure out like an average almost. Is like, okay, here's what would be good. Here's what I want. Here's what's regular. Stuff like that. And so maybe that's why this doesn't have as much effort put into the editing, although it does seem like a bigger video than normal because this is 30-ish minutes. Other stuff is like 10, 12 minutes. Yeah. Maybe it was just like, all right, I have this idea that I want to do, but I still have to get it out on a schedule because I have like sponsors, I have like shit to like deal with, I have other videos I want to do. And they're like, the people operate off of that. She obviously is. But this video needs better editing. Maybe it could have taken off more. Maybe it would have been delayed. Like, wouldn't have taken off with the delay. I don't know. But like, she could have showed something for Pirate Software being like amateur earlier.
To produce dedicated videos about specific games. So getting that level of exposure for free from a channel as massive as Game Theory would have been nothing short of a godsend. We're talking about a YouTube juggernaut with millions of subscribers, industry reach, and algorithmic weight most indie devs could only dream of. For a small developer like Pirate Software, this wasn't just a shout out. It was a golden ticket. And how did he respond? Jason Hall publicly criticized MatPat and the Game Theory team.
You can criticize good things being done to you if they're not as good as you want them to be. You don't have to. You are allowed to bite the hand that feeds, if it is actually feeding you poison. Yeah. This is one of the things where I feel like I may even be like I hate to say it, I might be on Pirate Software's side for this one. It's like, oh, you're getting your game featured. Yeah, okay, but it doesn't link the game. There's a bunch of context that makes it seem like it's not my game. And I haven't gotten any more sales. So, like, yeah, that kind of sucks, actually. I can totally see why he would be frustrated with that, if that is, like, the reason. Which I think he says is.
Accusing them of exploiting his work for profit without proper credit. He argued that their video misrepresented his game, leaned too heavily on Undertale comparisons, failed to include a link to Heartbound, and even misspelled his studio's name. While he didn't literally accuse them of stealing, many took his tone and framing to imply that kind of exploitation is.
Okay, that I do agree with. He did have weird tonnage around it. Like, I actually do completely agree with being angry about it, but I can also understand people taking away the wrong message. That's what this entire thing was about. It was like a misunderstanding about taking away the wrong message.
Especially as he positioned the issue as part of a wider trend of large creators taking advantage of indie developers. Rather than celebrate the exposure, Thor escalated the moment into a full-blown controversy, one where he cast himself not as a developer caught in an oversight, but as the righteous victim of YouTube exploitation. And Twitter, being the free-range nonsense farm that it is, gobbled up the story without
She's British. She really should have said the free-range nonce farm. Like, that would have been a perfect opportunity for something like that.
Of critical thoughts. No fact-checking or context, and absolutely no grasp of how YouTube SEO even works, but really, what else could you expect? This was the pre-community notes era, a time when whoever shouted the loudest got to rewrite the facts, and in that noise, plenty of internet users found it easier to root for the underdog they barely knew.
So that's the thing with the editing in this video, right? That makes it like super fucking weird. We don't get like a lot of. We'll get some more context later, but it almost feels better to like argue with it now and then I guess argue with it more later. SEO is not like a super limited thing. Maybe it is. Maybe I don't understand it that well. But you can kind of put like almost an infinite amount of terms in your description and get like SEO out of it. Yeah.
Rather than the massively successful brand safe MatPat, Thor had built a textbook David versus Goliath narrative, and people lapped it up. Let's be honest here, Matt Pat was an easy target. He's clean cut, media trained, brand friendly,
What?
and for
Why
some
is-
viewers,
what? Wait,
about
what?
as emotionally resonant as
He's an easy target because he's like a handsome young guy, or just a handsome guy in general. Like, what fucking sense does that make? How is he an easy target? Like, I think Matt Pat's like a really difficult target, actually. Oh, what the fuck? Like, because he's like he's pretty good at his job. He makes content. Like, the most you can say about him is that he's like a bit repetitive and his content isn't like the thing you're looking for, because he has like a very specific market he's going towards. So it's like, okay, like, what else can you say about him? What makes him an easy target? That shit sucks. That line
say
sucks.
tax
Should have
form.
rewritten it.
He represents everything people instinctively distrust about polished, successful content
Does it?
creators, appearing about as relatable as Elon Musk in a mankini riding a rocket to Whole Foods. He's the guy
No.
who made a million Five Nights at Freddy's videos. Not necessarily because he loved the series, but because the SEO potential was too good to pass up.
Where's your evidence of that? Did Matt Pat ever say that? I thought he genuinely did like Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, she doesn't say anything, so I can't like argue against anything. So I don't understand. Like, I can't do. It's like, okay, like how could anybody make 1,000 videos about something even if they love it? And it's like, because they love it.
Me from madness and despair.
Have you seen a Fire Emblem fan channel? That shit's been in a drought. Like, there's not been a good Fire Emblem game since like 2016 or 17, and there are still people making like monthly or weekly content about it. They just love the franchise that much. Does fucking... Oh, that's the end of the game.
These letters aim from afar.
It says begin the final letter.
The writing
Oh, here we go.
is so familiar. I think I've seen it.
So it's like, can you? Yeah, absolutely. Does he? Maybe. Probably not. Does he need to? I don't think so. It's like one of those things where it's like a child is like, oh, you can't make like a video about something you care about that much. You can't possibly care about something. It's like, well, I care about it a little bit, and maybe I'm not interested in it to the farthest depths, but like I like it enough to keep talking about it. I don't know.
Each one a 20-minute monetized lore spiral with a VPN ad and a million engagement tricks slapped in the middle. Just make sure all of the preteens hit subscribe. Here's a true algorithm goblin, if there ever was one. So
I
when
don't know.
Thor threw out an accusation, even a flimsy one,
Like, look, it sucks to say that the fucking MatPat shit was innovative for its time, and you could... He's an adult making content, and sure, like, the stuff he's talking about is directed towards people who play games, which is in, like, what is it? It's, like, the 10 to 35 male demographic. Like, people want to hear shit about their favorite thing. I don't know. I don't think you... Whatever.
and people didn't just believe it, they wanted to believe it because siding with Thor felt like sticking it to the man. It meant choosing scrappy creativity over corporate polish, or raw authenticity over cold algorithmic optimization. Matt Pat would emerge from this burial thoroughly ravaged by
This is, like, an insane description of what happened and, like, not accurate at all. That is so shit. Most people didn't give a fuck about Matt Pat talking about Heartbound like that. It's like he was thoroughly ravaged. What, he lost like a 1,000 or 2,000 subs? Like, one, you don't even have evidence of what even fucking happened, okay? I don't give a fuck what you say. If you're not saying it with like even a screenshot of evidence, I have nothing to believe you on. And it's like, two, who, like, did Pirate Software get that much of a boost out of it? Maybe he did. That was kind of like the point where he started like really coming up. But like, I don't know, man. I can only like half agree because I know like a lot of prior context Somebody who doesn't would probably be like completely lost or just like outright agree because they like don't know anything.
By the internet and its schadenfreude, but in my opinion, at least, this wasn't a scandal, it was a hit job. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how it happened, how Jason Hall misrepresented what was done, played the public like a fiddle, and looking back through the lens of his more recent controversies, arguably built a career out of pretending to be the one under attack. So let's rewind to the very beginning, the 3rd of January.
Okay, so at least she gets that. That is my opinion, is that him like being upset about a lot of things is like entirely strategic, and he doesn't actually care about 99% of this stuff.
2019, the day that GT Live, the live streaming arm of Game Theory, played an early access indie title called Heartbound. The stream's thumbnail was bold, maybe even a little cheeky, the best game since Undertale, a title obviously designed to provoke clicks, stir discussion, and ride the algorithmic wave of anything even vaguely associated with Toby Fox's cultural juggernaut. The video didn't just hint at comparisons, it practically begged for them. Most of the tags attached were related to Undertale, Deltarune, or Toby Fox himself. Out of 16 tags, only 4 were directly connected to Heartbound or its developer.
What were they? Wait, did she show them and did I miss them?
Hint at comparisons, it practically begged for them. Most of the tags attached were related to Undertale.
That would have been a perfect spot for you to put tags. Put the photo of the tags. Put the tags in the bag, little bro. Yeah, what the fuck? Dude, what the fuck? I don't understand. This seems so easy. Even if you're like just trying to get it out in a couple of days, spend the extra like half hour required and put the fucking photos in there. Like, why not? Jesus.
Or Toby Fox himself. Out of 16 tags, only 4 were directly connected to Heartbound or its developer. There was no Steam link in the description, and to top it off...
See, that's understandable. I completely understand not having a Steam link in there. That sucks. That should have been in there. Especially, well, if it was available for purchase, I think. But if it wasn't available for purchase, maybe not. I don't know.
Studio was incorrectly listed as Pirate Games rather than
Yeah, that also
Pirate
sucks.
Software.
I get being mad at that.
Absolutely,
Sloppy.
but malicious, no, not really. This wasn't some calculated attempt to erase a developer's identity. It was a typical low-effort YouTube SEO. The kind of thing that happens when a channel's uploading hundreds of videos a year, bulk tagging each for search and visibility, and moving on to the next one before the first thumbnail has even finished rendering. And here's the part the critics...
I mean, it was a live stream, wasn't it? It wasn't even a video. Again, like, I understand. But, like, I don't know, dude. Is this person, like, it feels like this person is speaking from direct experience, and that may not be the exact experience that MatPat had. Does that make sense?
Jason the Hall himself either didn't understand or deliberately chose not to acknowledge. This is standard practice. For big channels like Game Theory...
Okay, well, okay, it doesn't matter if it's standard practice. You should fucking put your indie game link in the description. I can understand being mad about that. Sure, Pirate Software, like, went about it in maybe, like, not the kindest way possible, and not the most... Well, in her words, understanding. I don't care about that. But, like, yeah.
Leaning on trending keywords to pull views
I got a kick message, and it is like Okay, whatever, dude.
viewers into lesser known titles is just how the system works. Like it or not, that's how you get people to actually click on indie game content, and in Heartbound's case, it did exactly that. The stream itself was entirely positive. The hosts praised the game, there was no mockery, there was no dunking, none of this is a bootleg Undertale commentary, just honest, upbeat coverage. And in the days that followed, Heartbound saw a noticeable uptick in visibility on both
Did it?
YouTube and Steam.
Where's your evidence? Oh my god, did it? I don't know if it did. I just don't understand. I don't get it. It's like if anybody remembers, like when JXC had like a fight with Hassan Piker, because Hassan featured JXC's video and JXC got like 100 views from it or something. Because it didn't post the link, it didn't show the video title, it didn't do anything like that. That's what this feels like. And MatPat is like a decent enough guy, right? I think it's like, okay, he fixed it, he was like relatively nice about it, whatever. But like, I can understand why you'd be mad. I don't get this, like, oh, you should, Pirate Software, you should be fucking thankful that fucking MatPat even dared to feature your fucking stupid video. It's like, no, dude, it's fine. It's like, yeah, okay, it was good that he featured it. He should have done better. It could have misled people. It probably did mislead a few people, because I think also I don't think he has it anymore, which is like one of the few growth things that Pirate Software has, is he's not so insecure about people comparing his game to Undertale anymore. I think at the time he was a bit more, and that probably also like made him come off as like a bit more aggressive than he should have been. But yeah, I just think that this lady is kind of nonsensical.
The kind of boosts indie devs dream of getting, but Jason Thorhall, the developer behind Pirate Software, wasn't flattered.
Because this lady isn't showing any stats, I don't know if he even got a boost from that.
He was furious, and before long, that frustration would spill over into one of the most dramatic indie dev versus content creator blow-ups in recent memory. Channeling his besmirchment, Hall opted for the theatrical route within...
Also, what is this? What the fuck is this? I saw this on Papa Gut's stream. Why is there a crying black man on my screen? I want to say this is like an artistic interpretation of a GIF that I've seen before. But like, why is this here? This is so odd. Lady, why? This was so this threw me for a fucking loop when I first saw it, and I had to like pause it and show my girlfriend because she didn't fucking believe me that this was here. It's like, yeah, there's just like a gif of a crying black guy on screen right now, and she's in the kitchen. It's like, but no, it's just like a video talking about Pirate Software. It's like, yeah, and there's a crying black guy on the screen. It's like, what? And he's animated. It's like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Late Decade's weird fucking video.
Days of the Heartbound stream, he took to Twitter and unleashed a scathing thread aimed directly at game theory. And I don't mean one or two curt tweets. I mean receipts out the bag, accompanied by a full-blown woeful developer monologue on his website. The central accusation was that the GT livestream had confused his game Heartbound with Undertale, not just in tone, but in authorship. According to Hall, enough viewers had thought he was Toby Fox that it triggered a wave of emails asking how long he'd been working on Deltarune or why he'd left that project to make Heartbound. In the open letter on his website, he
okay, well, we have a few things we could check for that, okay? Did Toby Fox actually, like, corroborate that? Did Toby Fox actually get stuff like, hey, you're making Heartbound? What happened to Deltarune? That would be really nice information to have, wouldn't it? But we don't. Maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe Pirate Software never posted it. And that's for you to tell us. That's like the purpose of your video, is to inform us, right?
described it as an identity crisis, lamenting that his artistic voice had been effectively erased by game theory's click-chasing presentation. But here's the thing, Heartbound has been compared to Undertale since day one. Hull knew this, he'd addressed it before, publicly and without issue. In fact, he referred to it in this letter. He referred back to 2016,
Can you show the letter?
writing, "A number of people also attacked us, saying we were ripping off Undertale. I reached out to Toby Fox. He said Heartbound reminded him of Secret of Evermore and Mother 3.
Okay, so like if you're like a turbo autist in the video game, like
These platforms
Heartbound RPG sphere, you'll get like you'll understand like the more minute differences between these games. But like all genre is and all like classifications and communications is about I mean it's about communications, it's about communicating. And so like to the average person, if they know about Undertale and they don't know about much else, okay? Like everybody fucking knows about Undertale now, right? If they know about Undertale and not much else, and you're like, "Hey, I got this game, has pixelated graphics, it's kind of wacky, it's got cool animal characters, and whatever," you're gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, that's like an Undertale." But if you actually have knowledge about it, you'll be like, "Yeah, that's like a Mother, that's like an Earthbound, that's like a whatever they said, secrets of the Heathers." So yeah, it's like, what the fuck.
And that there's always more room for snazzy adventures in his book. So, let's be clear, Hall had already faced those comparisons, spoken to Toby Fox himself, and received nothing but encouragement.
The lights just
There was
flickered,
no
so if the stream
outrage,
stops, the
no
electricity went
existential
out.
crisis, just perspective, a bit of humour, and a brush off. Totally fine. Until the comparison came from someone bigger than him. Suddenly, it wasn't just inconvenient, it was an injustice. The narrative flipped, not because the facts had changed, but because Hall wasn't the one controlling them anymore. And while Hall did report confusion from fans, he provided no evidence that this confusion happened at any meaningful scale.
I mean,
Even if a few people
you're not even providing evidence that he fucking said any of this.
who genuinely thought he was Toby Fox, the idea that a single popular stream could overwrite a developer's identity feels at best like an overreaction and at worst like an opportunistic melodrama. But
No, okay, look. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Okay, look. With the communications thing, with genres and whatever, it can feel like the identity of your unique little game is like being overshadowed or overtaken by the identity of a bigger game. And I think that's kind of reasonable whenever you have a game that's like on the surface level kind of similar. I don't understand what she's talking about.
further to his tweets in his full open letter on his website, Hall further complained with the now infamous line, "Except I'm not Toby Fox." It reads like something between a manifesto and a breakup note, honestly. Full of wounded pride and overblown lamentation and the kind of
Okay, so we actually have some text to read. "We worked for another year straight like this, missing events, working insane hours, managing finances, eating ramen, and making memes about it with our community. I met a ton of amazing people along the way and got to share my experiences with other aspiring game devs. After all that work, we finally launched into early access on December 24th, 2018. Happy Christmas Eve lunch." So far, Heartbound has been a hit, and we have around 95% positive rating, with an awesome community that's been with us here for the whole time. Now we're at today with an email and Twitter inbox filled with questions if I'm with Toby Fox, or if I am Toby Fox, how long Toby has worked on Heartbound, or why I stopped working on Deltarune to make Heartbound. Because I'm not Toby Fox. My name is Jason Thor Hall. I make games about breakfast foods, sad kids, and dogs with the rest of my team. I do all the programming, writing, and game design. Stin Van Vakkeren does all the sound effects and music. Brady Shea Ramel does all of our art and animation.
of emotionally performative flourish that indie dev Twitter eats up like gospel. He wasn't just venting, he was crafting a narrative, and it worked. The discourse quickly shifted away from the technical failings, the missing Steam link, the sloppy tags, and towards a much grander accusation that game theory had exploited an indie developer, that they'd hijacked the algorithm to steal visibility, that they embodied everything wrong with how big YouTubers leech off smaller creatives without giving anything back.
Yeah, it seems kind of
The
fucking
fact
insane.
that Heartbound was receiving more attention than ever didn't seem to matter, because this wasn't about Heartbound anymore. It was about power dynamics, about how big YouTubers allegedly crush indie developers.
Yeah, that's kind
and
of shitty.
About how algorithms commodify art.
Has that ever actually happened? The only time I can think of is maybe with like Yik or Omori, but those situations were kind of justified. I think Yik a lot less so, but Omori was like a bunch of YouTubers made videos about how like this person, actually don't even know the full context for it, so I probably shouldn't be talking about it that much. Excuse me. But there was like a thing where the person who made Omori did like a Kickstarter. I think it came out, I think it was like before Undertale, before Lisa, before all these other like RPG style torture porn games, where they did like a Kickstarter, and it took like what, almost like 10 years for Omori to come out, and people were like, oh yeah, this person's like a fraud. And that was like YouTubers shitting on an indie developer. Corporate YouTubers who would just need to make like a weekly video, and they heard about the Omori story, and they're like, yeah, fuck this person. I need a weekly bit, even though they were, you know, hard at work on the fucking video game. Yik was like weird because I think it's like avant-garde, and it does some really weird shit that's not super kosher in every single situation. The game's kind of shit. The game was like kind of shit. I think it's better now. But it like had the death of somebody in it like inspire a character, and the scene of that real life person's death is remade inside of Yik, and it was kind of like distasteful or whatever. But I think it's avant-garde.
About how exposure without permission is somehow theft. At least that's how Hall framed it, and with no pushback, no fact-checking, and no context, Twitter lapped it up, and as with all modern internet drama, the spectacle was just getting started. It wasn't long before the backlash snowballed, and then, just when things were starting to cool down, in dropped the last person you'd expect to fan the flames. Toby Fox himself, creator of Undertale.
There's this awesome line. I should have prepped it before the stream, but if you ever have the time, I highly recommend watching Running Shine's Yik video. And I think like one of my favorite lines from that is like, and the message from all of this is, when the going gets rough, Toby doesn't have your back. Toby has been like a very odd character in the game community sphere, whatever. And I think he's been like kind of back and forth with what he's like thinks, but I think most of all, he's just a game dev. He doesn't like focus on a lot of drama. He doesn't have like full context for every single situation. And he doesn't want to. Oh? And I think it's like reasonable. It's fine. It's like whatever. But it also leads to him having some like kind of deranged opinions or takes or whatever, because he's like uninformed. And that's like a lot of people, right? If you're not informed on a thing and you try to have like a really hard opinion on it that's like immovable, you're gonna come across as like cringe 99% of the time. And so for him to be like, yeah, fuck MatPat, I can't believe that he didn't tag a game with the worst SEO possible. Like, well, yeah, why the fuck would he?
The game that inspired half the thumbnails on YouTube and the other half of Twitter's moral discourse. In a rare public call-out, he reply tweeted to Hall's and MatPat's thread and took aim directly at MatPat, stating that Game Theory should have at least linked to the game that they were streaming.
Yeah, totally.
His
I
exact
agree.
words were, You should link to any game you play. Creators need all the help they can get. And think carefully if you're misleading your audience with your title and description.
No, just with your videos, you read it wrong. That's one of the things that makes me think it's like AI or like AI helped. You went too far this time. It's just like, dude, not that serious. You went too far this time. It's like, okay, well, how about all those other indie devs that MatPat didn't exactly do the best like title descriptions with? Are you gonna speak out for them, Toby? You're gonna go through MatPat's entire catalog and make certain that he's properly tagging everything? No, I didn't think so. It's just when Pirate Software does, because Pirate Software is probably in his DMs like, hey, MatPat thinks I'm you.
You went too far this time. That one tweet from Toby turned a petty indie spat into a full-blown internet moment, because when gaming's soft-spoken wunderkind tells the internet that someone has gone too far, the internet doesn't ask questions. It just grabs pitchforks. And that's exactly what happened. Legacy gaming outlets jumped on the drama like it was a new E3 leak. Twitter lit up with dunk threads, memes, and pile-ons from people who'd never watched the stream and didn't care about context.
Yeah,
but it didn't
like
matter.
everything.
Toby Fox had spoken, and
that's just the
back
internet.
In 2019, Twitter was still the land of zero fact-checking and maximum emotional knee-jerk.
Dude, that just describes like every social media. What the hell? I mean, even now, like, Twitter has barely any fact checking. It's done through an AI that kind of sucks at it. I don't like use Twitter that much, but every time I do and I see like at Grok, what is this? Grok gives like the wrong response. Just like, oh. Okay. That's great. That's like great fact checking there.
If someone said you'd done wrong and that someone had enough clout, then guilty you must be. Suddenly, game theory, long seen as quirky but harmless, was being reframed as exploitative, arrogant, and out of touch with the very indie scene it's so often celebrated. And MatPat, he went from awkward video essay guy to symbol of corporate YouTuber evil practically overnight. Under pressure, he responded. First, defensively, blaming the oversight on his team and insisting that they usually didn't link to games during streams. That didn't go over well.
I mean, yeah, that's just like, I mean, that's fine if you don't link to it during the stream. Where is it in the description? Like, that was like, yeah, not a great response.
He tried again. The title and thumbnail were changed, a Steam link was added to the description, and a more formal apology followed soon after. But even with all that, something didn't quite sit right. Because let's be honest, how many YouTubers don't link the games they play? Loads! It's not ideal, but...
Wait, who? Wait, what? How many games don't link the games they play? I mean, if you're talking about like actual dedicated video game people... I'm having a hard time thinking of one. I'm actually struggling to think of like a single person who doesn't proper link their stuff. No, I can't think of any. I mean, I have a pretty limited purview, especially now. I watched video game stuff on YouTube when I was like a kid, but now, not really. But I feel like that is, or I guess should be, common practice to link video games that you play, especially if you're like a corpo YouTuber, if you're like MatPat or Markiplier or whatever. You or PewDiePie. I don't know.
But it's common. In fact, it was practically standard practice for large channels at the time. So
To not link
why
the game?
did this particular stream ignite such a fierce reaction? Why did this moment, this game, this creator get treated like a moral scandal? Because from the outside, it looked like the usual rules suddenly didn't apply. And
No? What? What? What the fuck? No, what? You just said that the normal rule was not to to put in the description of the fucking game, was to not link to the game. And now she's saying that it's like, oh, people are arbitrated because now the rules don't apply. It's like, what? Wait, what, to pirate software? And people got mad at him? I'm pretty sure people were like mostly on his side. What the fuck is she talking about?
This is when the story stops being about a game link and starts being about the man behind the outrage. By 2025, the name Jason Thor Hall, or Pirate Software, has become something of a lightning rod in gaming discourse. What began as a scrappy indie developer crying foul over YouTube SEO has evolved into a full-blown personal brand. TED Talk-style voiceovers, endless developer AMAs, and a loyal Twitch following that seemed to treat him like some kind of tech industry oracle. But the mask, of course, didn't stay on for long. Take his response to the Stop Killing Games campaign. While most of the gaming world is finally rallying around the radical idea that maybe, just maybe, you should be allowed to keep playing games you've paid for, Hall stepped in with a slick debunk video. He confidently argued that the campaign would destroy live service games, ruin indie development, and upend the legal foundation of how games are made. None of that held up under scrutiny, but that didn't matter because he sounded like he knew what he was talking about. Calm tone. Just enough technical jargon to pass as informed, delivered with the practiced cadence of someone who wasn't arguing, just clarifying. And once again, confidence was... No, you misunderstand. You misunderstand. Pirate Software was extremely aggressive and was very clear that he hated this. He didn't use technical jargon. He didn't use any of this, whatever the fuck she said. He was like, no, this sucks. This is going to ruin things for everybody. It was very, like, much, not at all, like, a tech head, jargon, mumbo speak, double speak, whatever. It was like, this sucks. This sucks. This is going to actually make your games worse. He didn't give a good explanation why, and that was kind of like the whole problem. Fucking, even Ross was like, hey, let me come explain it to you. Because I don't think you read it right, because you're not even, like, explaining how you think. Like, I can't... This is such a bewildering, stupid fucking statement. Was mistaken for competence. His audience followed along without reading the fine print. I watched it happen in real time. When I release a separate video defending consumer rights...
Why are you playing fucking Soul Hackers 2? Nobody... No real gamer plays Soul Hackers 2. What? Why are you cutting away to playing on your Steam Deck? Dude, what the hell? So weird, so strange and odd. I don't... Like... What is happening?
Rights and highlighting a class action lawsuit in the UK against Steam. Coincidentally, he had released a video around the same sort of time covering the same lawsuits but taking a contrarian anti-consumer stance. As usual, back then, his narrative became the go-to counter-position, therefore, his viewers came straight for me, flooding my comments with smug rebuttals.
This would be awesome and this would be epic if you only put what you have here. Or is it... Can you just like fucking... Let's fucking put a screenshot, dude. This is insane. I don't even feel like I'm asking for that much. I feel like I'm asking for like some basic clarifications. It's like, oh my god, he harassed you? I mean, Pirate Software does the same thing, right? This lady is just, like, opposite side Pirate Software in a way. Where it's like, okay, so you're saying, like, he sent people to harass you, or his audience harassed you just for having, like, the contrarian opinion. Okay, like, I can potentially see that. Can you show it? I guess not.
Parroting his talk points almost word for word. The same cadence, the same tone, the same misplaced absolute certainty. Now, look, I'm not crying over YouTube drive-bys. Who gives a fuck, really? That's part of the job. But it revealed something important. Jason Hall wasn't just wrong. He was persuasive, and the more persuasive he's become, the more...
Can you not understand if a person is persuasive just from having like a massive amount of like views and a like large following? Is that too much of me? I feel like you totally can. I feel like it's not like ridiculous.
more damage he's done, not just to discourse, but to tangible collective efforts to make the industry better. So if you've ever wondered why...
I just learned that this guy who has a million viewers and like a ton of, like a bajillion subscribers, like the people who like watch him actually like agree with him. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, great detective work there, buddy. I realised that because I was talking to this chap and I didn't agree with him, and his other chaps, his gits, they was talking to me and they had the opposite opinion. That was bad. Okay. It's like going to a bar and starting an argument with a guy and being surprised whenever like the 3 or 4 guys who were there with that guy are like not on your side. It's like they're there with their buddy. Like that's how they see it. 'Cause everything's fucking parasocial now anyway, right?
That Heartbound stream in 2019 spiraled into something so much bigger than a missing Steam link. Maybe it's because Jason Thor Hall was never really just upset about a bit of bad attribution. Maybe, just maybe, it was always about control and about optics, about building a reputation, even if it meant burning someone else to do it. When it comes to Stop Killing Games, Hall's attempt to derail the conversation ended up doing the exact opposite. His debunk video didn't silence the critics, it ended up supercharging them. Viewers fact-checked him, dissected his arguments, and ultimately gave the campaign more visibility than it had ever received on its own. Classic Streisand effect.
I don't know if I agree that this entire thing was actually like a 4D chess play on Pirate Software's part. I mean, I don't know, maybe, I guess it could have been technically. It's like, hey, I know what'll get Heartbound sales. I'll request MatPat to watch my video, and I just know for a fact that Matt Rat is going to, that's funny, Matt Rat. I'm surprised that hasn't come out before. Like, I've never heard anybody call him that. He's like, oh, I just know that Matt Rat will use Undertale SEO to optimize it, and I can turn this into a big thing that nobody's ever, like, actually cared about before. I don't, is that what she's saying happened? Because it was all about control? I don't know, maybe. Maybe that is what she's saying?
However, back in 2019, when Hall claimed that GT Live's Heartbound stream had confused the public and damaged his identity as a creator, the internet instead came to his defense. And the result was even more free viral marketing than even MatPat had directly contributed by speaking positively about his game on his massive platform. Instead, now self-positioned as a victim of game theory rather than the beneficiary that he really was, he received a deluge of public sympathy and a bigger spotlight on his game than most indie developers could ever dream of. In both cases, we can now look back and see the same pattern repeat. play the victim, mislead the public, reap the exposure, and refuse to take any real responsibility. Because if there's one thing that Jason Thor Hall understands better than most people in the industry, it's that controversy sells, especially when you can frame yourself as the misunderstood underdog.
Had Thor actually had any like big controversies at this point? I can't recall any up to like what, 2019? From a source that we'll get to later, there could have been some, I guess. But I think for the most part, that's not the case at all. Just super, I don't know, this is so weird.
At the center of it. And every time someone else gets scorched to keep his brand warm. At this point, it's hard to pretend that any of this is a coincidence. The heartbound drama, the stop killing games smear, the smug just asking questions, rebuttals delivered in that whispery TED Talk cadence. This isn't a series of misunderstandings, it's a pattern, a method, and depending on how generous you're feeling, maybe even a business strategy. Look closer and you'll see it, a carefully curated persona built not around indie games, but around control. Control of the narrative, the tone, the framing, and the outcome always. Hall isn't content with making a point, he has to own the context around it. He has to make sure that everyone who disagrees doesn't just sound mistaken, that they sound illegitimate. This is the same developer who once claimed he had to relearn how to speak after a mysterious health event, only for many to note that his voice now sounds suspiciously much deeper, which he explained away as being a second puberty that apparently men go through. Yeah. Doctors told him that, apparently. I'm sure we all know loads of men who go through second puberty and suddenly sounds like IT Barry White, which...
Yeah, I mean, that's always been a criticism. That he's faking his voice. Fair. This is a bit like intro level to Pirate Software, so I guess in that sense it's like not for me. But like there's so many things that could be better. It's like a kid's food thing. I think like some movie critics or it's like a kid's movie thing. A kid's movie is better. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Basically there's this concept of like, just because something is made for like somebody who doesn't know as much, or somebody who is not like super aware of everything that's happening, doesn't mean you have to make it badly. And I feel like that's kind of what's happened here. Nody went to phone. Oh, well, thanks for showing up. Don't worry about it. I've got a bit of a long stream tonight anyway. This video is 2/3 over, and I got a lot of text to read.
To be clear, would be completely fine if he hadn't spent years building his brand on being authentic. Claiming this new voice isn't performative comes across as laughable. Anyway, as for Heartbound, which entered early access in 2018, it still hasn't seen a full release. 7 years later, development updates have slowed to a trickle, but his Twitch streams, they remain daily polished.
Okay, so this is something that I am like very confused about even now. Heartbound is like 1.0 on Steam. You can buy and play Heartbound like right now. And you'll get like a full-ish experience. I'm not even sure what's left to be done besides side content. So I'm really not 100% certain of what is intended as full release, but it's at 1.0 now on Steam.
And uninterrupted. Then there's the OnlyFans incident. Another flashpoint where Hall was part of a public drama where he accused...
This might be Streisand effect from the drama community. She loves the Streisand effect thing. He says that he's still working on the game and that it's not finished yet. They're supposed to be adding stories. Oh, like big ones? Okay, I can see that being a thing. But if you're like able to buy the game and get to 1.0... There's a lot of game devs that will do that. They'll like end early access. It's 1.0. You can buy and play and have like the full-ish experience. But if you wait, there will be more content later, but it's not essential. That's what 1.0 means, is that like all of the essential content is done and you can have like a more than enjoyable experience with the game. So like Pirate Software might still be working on it, but like it's done.
Others of misrepresentation after being called out for his poor sportsmanship,
Or it might be done. I'm not clear. That's my problem. I'm unclear.
deserting teammates and costing them permanently their high-leveled characters. Whether it's YouTube drama, preservation debates, or MMO pylons, the story stays the same. He punches down, he dodges accountability, he cloaks his rebuttals in soft-spoken confidence and technical jargon, just
Why are we watching Tomb Raider?
enough to convince his audience that anyone pushing back must be either angry,
Why are we watching The Witcher 4 trailer footage?
stupid, or both. Because for Pirate Software, it's never enough to just
Why are we watching Witcher 3? Like, what is this?
make a point. He has to own the point. He has to control the language around it, and if that means manipulating the story in real time, so be it. There's not a personality quirk, it's the product. Jason Thor Hall's image has been meticulously constructed to disarm critics, cultivate loyalty, and keep the spotlight exactly where he wants it. On him. Now, let's be fair, MatPat didn't handle this perfectly. The stream had sloppy tagging, no link to the game, and when he was called out, his first response wasn't exactly PR gold. It came off as defensive and passive and weirdly corporate. The kind of reply that reads like someone's being told what to say by a manager rather than speaking as a person. And this is crucial. Once a backlash gained traction, he fixed it. The title and the thumbnail were changed. A Steam link was added, and most importantly, he issued a direct public apology. No caveat.
Kind of like they were promised shit years ago when they bought early access. Might be 1.0 because Pirate Software does not know you can do 0.991. Maybe. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Like, if it's... Yeah, if there's still stuff in the game that was promised in, like, the Kickstarter or, like, on Discord or whatever, yeah, I can see that.
No, sorry you were offended nonsense, just a clear admission that they got it wrong, and with a promise to do better. In YouTube terms, that's practically sainthood. Now, compare that to Pirate Software, who didn't just light the fire, but threw petrol on it at every chance he got. Hall didn't approach the situation with a calm request for correction. He escalated it into a crusade about artistic identity and systemic exploitation, and then quietly exited the stage the moment the outrage stopped benefiting him. There was no follow-up, no clarification, or any kind of reconciliation, just a burst of online anger, a tidal wave of sympathetic attention, and then silence, while Game Theory's reputation took the long-term hit. Because in the end, this wasn't really about Heartbound. It wasn't about missing links or keyword stuffing or respect for the artistic process. It was about how Jason Thor Hall seized a moment, hijacked a narrative, and then cast himself as a martyr for indie developers everywhere and soaking up the spotlight while someone else took the fall. MatPat made a mistake and he fixed it. Jason Hall manufactured a scandal and disappeared, leaving someone else to clean it up. Only one of those two ever tried to make anything right. Some people might look back at the Heartbound saga and shrug, because just another internet flare-up, right? A bit of indie drama that's got blown out of proportion and fizzled out once.
I wasn't listening to like the last minute, but like, fuck, I should go back, shouldn't I? Go back to here. This is about when I stopped listening.
Else took the fall. MatPat made a mistake and he fixed it. Jason Hall manufactured a scandal and disappeared, leaving someone else to clean it up.
I mean, he didn't disappear. He took full advantage and continued, right?
Only one of those two ever tried to make anything right. Some people might look back at the Heartbound saga and shrug.
I mean, she's playing Pirate Software off as like so malicious here. And I think there's a chance, absolutely, that he was being malicious, but I also do think that was kind of a fuck up on MatPat's part. For context, to re-up this, because I lost focus. too. So MatPat played Heartbound a while ago, a long time ago. He tagged it with a bunch of Undertale stuff to get more like search engine optimization and whatever. And then he Pirate Software was like, "Hey, you should like link me to you should link my game in your description so people don't get confused, and you should be in your stream you should have like made more emphasis that this was Heartbound and it was not Undertale, because people think I'm Toby Fox." I don't even remember where I was.
Because
This video has been mind-numbing. The editing has been insane. This lady has had so many weird fucking, like, I don't want to call them tangents, but it's like the lines just don't flow together right.
just another internet's flare-up, right? A bit of indie drama that's got blown out of proportion and fizzled out once everyone moved on. But here's the thing. Not everyone did move on. Plenty of YouTubers saw what happened and quietly took note. After all, why risk showcasing an indie game when the reward could be dogpiling, harassment, and accusations of exploitation?
Did anyone stop featuring indie games because they were scared of harassment by the creators anymore? Did MatPat even stop featuring indie games? Maybe he did. He kind of retired like soon after anyways, right? I don't know.
Or because someone forgot a hyperlink. For many, the takeaway wasn't be more careful.
Dude, that's such a reduction of all the shit that was like actually wrong with the MatPat stuff. Oh my god.
It was maybe don't bother. And that's the real damage right there. What should have been a feel-good story, a small game getting a massive platform, turned into a cautionary tale about how good intentions can be punished if the wrong person decides to twist the narrative. Because this wasn't just one man having a public...
What is this footage? Why did we get Witcher 4 trailer footage again? And why are we at the Halo fucking 4 trailer? Dude. This lady is insane. This is actually a deranged fucking video. Because, like, she's bringing up, like, the one situation where I almost kind of agree with Pirate Software, and she's presenting it in such a poor way where I'm like, yeah, I do agree with Pirate Software, actually. It's so bad. This video is so bad.
Sulk. It was a blueprint, a demonstration of how easily...
Oh, you know what I just realized? This video has, like, way too few likes. Likes and dislikes are kind of hard to judge now without the dislike counter actually being there. But this is bad.
Bad faith.
Oh, she actually, like, links shit here. Dude, come on. You couldn't show that in the video.
Actors can weaponize audience outrage and position themselves as righteous underdogs, all while advancing their own relevance. Meanwhile, Hall's career didn't suffer. Quite the opposite, actually. He's still streaming, still cultivating that soft-spoken image of quiet authority, still weighing in on industry topics like some kind of tech sage, with thousands of fans hanging on every word, and most of them, they've either...
This better end in, like, a good line, or else I'm gonna freak.
forgotten or never knew that he once blew up a developer-friendly live stream over a tagging mistake. Let's be absolutely clear here. This wasn't a developer standing up to an injustice. This was a man setting fire to the stage just to make sure he'd be the only one in the spotlight.
This is... oh my god. This is like almost like an evil representation of what happened. Holy shit, dude.
So, what have we actually witnessed?
So Pirate Software's audience did take like a bit of a hit recently. And it's like, oh, he's still chugging along just fine. Did you not read the furry messages? Did you not read piratesoftwaresucks.org or whatever, piratesoftware.sucks? Are you unaware that like the Warcraft drama and everything like stunted his growth?
here. A popular YouTuber played a small game, forgot a link, and got dogpiled by the internet. That's the surface. But dig deeper and you find something far more sinister. A calculated performance by a man who's made a career out of grievance, manipulation, and the quiet weaponization of trust. Jason Thor Hall didn't just misunderstand what game theory did, he twisted it. He wasn't harmed by exposure, he leveraged it. And when people rallied around him, he used that platform not to lift up indie.
Yeah, I think both people were in the wrong. I think MatPat should link an indie game. I think Thor could have gone about it in a better way than getting the entire internet to dogpile MatPat. And for all I know, this could have been like completely unintentional. He could have just been like, yeah, hey, MatPat, I didn't think that was very nice of you to not link my game. You should do that in the future. And like everyone on Twitter of their own volition got super butthurt. So got super ass mad at fucking MatPat when Pirate Software didn't want that. Because that probably burned a bridge worse than Pirate Software wanted. Like imagine being able to like have MatPat keep making videos about your thing. I think they both fucked up. She's trying to present him as like this evil 40 mastermind chess player. And it's not out of the equation. Okay, to be fair, I think there's like a small chance that that's true, but like this is insane. This is like so many leaps of logic, dude.
Devs, but to polish his own brand. That strategy worked for him in 2019, but in 2025, not so much. Because now he's the big YouTuber. He's the one with a massive audience, the sponsorship deals, the trust.
This is like, this almost feels like a hypnotist. Where it's like, oh, you guys really like MatPat, right? Well, Pirate Software engaged with MatPat in a negative way 7-8 years ago. And now you have an even more legitimate reason to dislike Pirate Software. It's like, dude, shut up.
Of thousands and the same algorithmic power he once accused others of abusing. And this time, when the scrutiny turned on him, the narrative didn't bend so easily in
Wait, did Pirate Software play an indie game and then not link it?
his favor. The mask is off, the tactics are familiar, and suddenly the man who built his platform and calling out perceived injustice is being called out himself, and he's not
He didn't build it. What? Oh my god. He did not build his platform on perceived injustice. He built his platform off of being, I worked at Blizzard. I worked at Blizzard for 23 years. Okay. But like, that's not relevant. I never bring up that I worked at Blizzard. Don't mind the voice. Okay. I had a second puberty. I got it after I got COVID for 2 years. Okay, guys, look, Heartbound is a game and I'm working on it. Okay, 2 lines of code a day is actually really efficient.
handling it nearly as well. Unlike MatPat, who made a mistake, took responsibility and apologized, Thor's response to the Stop Killing Games backlash has been nothing short of defiant. Rather than clarify or engage with the criticism, he went viral for brushing it off, with the now infamous line, "I don't give a fuck, eat shit."
Ooh. Did he say that? I'm pretty sure his exact words, "You can eat my ass. You can eat my whole ass."
You're hard showing off.
That clip alone set the tone.
What clip? Your stupid fucking British Office clip? Dude.
Smug, dismissive, and utterly unapologetic, which I must admit, I could almost like him for that. Probably the most authentic he's been for years. In his eyes, the backlash wasn't about accountability, it was about people misunderstanding his intent. He even suggested that being cast as the villain helped the campaign gain traction, framing himself as a kind of necessary martyr. Even as his...
Oh my god, I thought she was gonna play a clip. Okay, I actually do think that's true. I don't think he's like a martyr. I think he's like a villain. I don't think Stop Killing Games could have gotten the traction it did without the drama, without Ross Scott coming out and saying it. That's true.
subscriber counts plummeted by over 100,000 in just a few weeks. It's actually around like 200,000 now. Altogether, it paints the picture
Show the graph. You can take 2 minutes to show a fucking Graphtreon or fucking Social Blade graph? What the hell?
of a man completely unwilling to back down. Not because he's principled, but because the persona won't allow it. And that's the real warning here.
Wait, what? The persona won't allow it?
But because the persona won't allow it.
What is a persona? That's the that's the thing you stick your fingers and then penis into, right? What the fuck is a persona? What is a persona? Paisano? I'm pretty sure it's not sweat.
And that's the real warning here. The lesson isn't...
See, this is one of those AI things that makes me think that this video is like co-written or fully written by AI, because AI loves to use words that you don't use on a daily basis to make things like more pop out to people. And it's like, yeah, that does pop out. That pops out as like AI written.
Don't criticize big creators. It's be wary of the ones who turn every disagreement into a morality play where they're always the underdog, especially when they start narrating their own victimhood before anyone else even presses record. Pirate Software has never just been some scrappy indie developer standing up to YouTube injustice. From the beginning, he's been a clout chaser, kicking the ladder out from...
I hate this so much. Everyone on YouTube is a clout chaser. They make money. They entertain their hobby by obtaining more clout. I cannot emphasize that enough. Clout is literally the goal of being an online, of any like online career, pretty much. Except for like merchandising sales, your goal is to obtain more clout
from anyone else who might...
He's a clout chaser. He's a clout chaser.
While the algorithm
Is this video not clout chasing?
made its reign. And don't forget, right now, I've got massive discounts on some of the best releases from the past year, including Stellar Blade, Expedition 33, Black
Stellar Blade came out like 2 years ago.
Myth Wukong, and the
Black Myth Wukong came out like a year ago.
absolutely stunning Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which has just dropped this week. So, if you're fed up with AAA
She doesn't actually have a discount for Wu Chang Fallen Feathers? Yo.
trash or games that never actually release and want actual quality for less, hit the links below. Or if you'd rather support what I do in a more personal way and get access to my behind the scenes cosplay library and more,
Jesus
become
Christ.
a backer over on Patreon.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Wow, yeah. So that was the Pirate Software review. That was horrible. That might have actually been like one of the worst like takedown in quotes videos I've seen in ages. I would not put this out. If I made this, I would delete it. This was terrible. And you should feel like you need to be better at making videos. There is so much basic shit that she got wrong so many times, repeating it. And I think this video is going to make people like Pirate Software more by and large. Or it's going to make people who think like him more, because they're just like, oh, well, yeah, actually, maybe you should put a link to a game you're showing off. maybe that's a good thing. This was a terrible video. And I hate the bit. Where is this? Like 10:30, 11:30? Where was it? There's like a GIF in here of like a crying black guy. And it seems like it's in there for like no reason. It's like, wow, Pirate Software is crying or something. It's early on, I think. Well, now I think. I thought it was at the 10-minute mark. I'm not going to be able to find it, but now am I? On. Probably not, because it's only on there for a few seconds. I don't think this... Yeah, the scrolling doesn't go deep enough. So yeah, there's like a... It's super weird. I think this lady should stop making videos. Not entirely, but she needs to take a break and like be good at editing. This was terrible. I'm all for a good Pirate Software takedown, but like, come on. I want to see the comments on this. So people are just still shitting on... I wonder if she's deleting comments? I have nothing to base that on, but I'm seeing like exclusively Pirate Software negativity. Darvo, so this person probably agrees with the Pirate Software sucks thing that we'll be getting to. That's too far. MatPat is a little cringe and grew aloof, but he's leagues ahead of Elon. It was 1000% calculated because whenever they played the demo in the stream, Pirate Software congratulates them. Oh, okay, there. That's great evidence to have. That should be in the video. Can we sort by new? I'm just surprised that there's no criticism of this video. Stop killing Gaza for Bell. Okay. I feel like I need the equivalent of bleach into my... okay, that could be either, I guess. You've got amazing huge disc. Yeah. I don't know. This just seems super weird. Alright. Well, that's it for this Lady Decade video. Yeah, I hope... I don't know. I don't think I said anything too insulting. I hope she sees this and takes criticism. Huh. Or like sees anybody, because I've seen tons of people watch her, and most people just like gawk at it, kind of confused. But like, this is kind of insane. I hope that she rewrites this and presents it in a better way. Okay. Segment 2 of 2. You guys may be familiar with Pirate Software Sucks. It is a website dedicated from one of his previous lovers, from one of his previous ERPers, and it got an update recently. where somebody else has come out about Pirate Software. We're gonna read it because I need some joy, and that was not joy what we just watched for like an hour and a half. X consented to anonymously share their experience. X met Thor through Howler, a furry dating app, looking for companionship as a furry gamer. Despite X setting clear boundaries, explicitly stating they did not want any sexual activity. Okay, first off, no sexual activity. You're on a furry dating app. You're a furry. Might be in the wrong community there, buddy. Thor repeatedly ignored these wishes. Thor insisted on penetrative sex with X, who clearly communicated their refusal. He would force himself onto X and dry hump them. Okay. When you say force yourself, that has a very different connotation to and dry hump them. It's still bad. It's still pretty bad. But it's not that bad. It's not, yeah. When X tried to push him away, Thor would forcefully push himself onto them. Oh, this would continue until Thor ejaculated. When X expressed their discomfort at the situation, stating it was not okay, Thor responds with, "You know you liked it." Screenshots show X talking about those events right after it happened. Just a forewarning, this is a lot of unsubstantiated stuff. This is like, it's the same thing with, what is their name? I forgot their name, but the original creator of Pirate Software sucks, where there's like some stuff that seems bad, but it's like kind of unsubstantiated, or it's not nearly as bad as they're originally phrased. This was during the COVID or just post-COVID era. We had met at a furry dating app called Howler. At the time, I wanted to know another furry game dev friend. I had no idea who he was, what game he made, or how big he was on the internet. I do not follow streamers or content creators, so they're just like offline. That's weird. That's weird. You're a furry, but you're offline and you don't follow any streamers or content creators? Aw. He had told me at the time he was going through depression from a divorce. Yeah, I think he did get divorced like 3 years before this happened. I do not know if this was true, but this is what he was telling me. I wanted to lend him an ear and invited him over. It was strictly on a platonic basis, talking about game dev and light cuddling at most. Bro. You invited somebody over the first time you talked to them, or like within the first few times of talking to them. You invite them over to your house and start cuddling. You're giving off some bad signals. If your goal is not sexual relations, that seems like bad signals. First awkward sign was that he was unwilling to wear shoes outside? What? Despite me asking him to, he told me he doesn't wear shoes outside. This led to him tracking dirt and mud in my car? What? Dude, that's awesome. That's Sigma behavior. Into my car and home, which was already disrespectful, but I chalked it up to him being awkward. That's weird, but okay. Afterwards, he talked to me about his divorce and life problems and spent a few hours ranting to me about Diablo builds. Dude, going from divorce to Diablo builds is kind of crazy. And how big he was as a streamer. I thought I heard the cat meow. I wasn't particularly interested, but again, as a young furry game dev recently moved to Seattle, I just wanted a similar friend. When we started hanging out in my room is where things got weird. Despite me explicitly telling him I did not want penetrative sex or any bodily fluids on my bed, he kept insisting on doing sexual things. Eventually got to the point where I was pushing him away or telling him to stop, but he seemed to pretend not to hear. With him being larger than me, it wasn't easy to push him off, so he continued to dry hump me until he ejaculated. Oh. After it was all done, I lectured him about saying I told him repeatedly not to do that. Luckily, I'm pretty thick-skinned when it comes to casual sex. But if I were anyone else, it could have been a traumatic experience. You're thick-skinned when it comes to cat. You didn't have sex. What? You're telling me that you're thick-skinned to casual sex. You invite somebody over to your house. You're like, I did not want sex, but you have thick skin. What? His reply was simply, you know you liked it. To which I rolled my eyes in disgust. At that point, I said, I'm taking you home. And even as I was taking him home, he begged me to take him to the grocery store. Frustrated, I reluctantly did so and just figured this would be the last time I ever interacted with him. Afterwards, neither of us messaged each other on Telegram anymore, and he deleted his Telegram. So what this signifies to me is that there was probably a much larger relationship going on in the background if you weren't just using the dating app that you started on. Conversation with a friend. Now my bed smells like a lot of cum. You went a little too ham. Thor came on your bed? Yeah, he also didn't wear shoes? Like, just straight up, he came over without shoes. So it seems like you're more focused on the bad, like, not wearing shoes part. Jesus Christ. I blocked it out of my mind. I wasn't particularly hurt. I just thought, wow, that was surreal. I can't believe someone exists like that. For authenticity's sake, I can also tell you I confided in many other... I mean, look, confidence is not, like, necessarily evidence. Or authenticity. I had no intention of coming out with my story and didn't cave for attention, but it did weigh on my conscience because I do believe Thor should not be allowed to abuse anyone else further. Thor seems... I don't know. Thor is weird. He seems to just, like, fuck around. I had zero idea that he was a big entity on the internet until some Game Awards show showed him. This is when I sort of realized I should confront Thor. We're in similar game dev circles. I see his name everywhere, and beyond that, I did not want to further harm done to someone else. Screenshots on X being confronted by a friend. Of Thor being confronted? Oh, no, it's them. I keep replaying that night in my head trying to find some good in him. Why? I thought it was casual. But whenever I do, like, nope, even with the fact he ignored my boundaries, he also just kind of shit in general. Like, he came into my house, no shoe. This person is more focused on Thor not wearing shoes than Thor, like, molesting them. Not in, like, the actual go all the way sense, but more in, like, the British, like, he's a bugger sense. Kept pushing himself on me as I was pushing him off, and when I told him he shouldn't have done that, he said, you know you liked it. Somehow at the end, I felt pathetically bad for the guy. He had somehow convinced me to drive him to groceries. And I can't help but process it as something awkward happens, but then it's like, hey, he was kind of awful. These are the pictures of the conversations I had with him. Let's go. Oh. Cut off. We need to talk when you had the chance? Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but our last interaction left me feeling deeply uncomfortable. I wanted to talk if you remember before making any judgments. Who's who here? I think this is just the person talking at Pirate Software. So it's still kind of unsubstantiated. Oh, here's Thor's message. Oh, so for some reason they cut Thor's messages out of this, but they have also Thor's messages here. We need to talk when you have the chance. About? This seems very ominous, lol. Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but our last interaction left me feel very uncomfortable. I want to talk to you about it if you remember before making any judgments. Yep, I remember. Sorry I made you uncomfortable. Is there a reason we never talked again after that? I guess I just want to know how much you remember. I didn't really want to bring something 2 years up later just to be spiteful or anything, so I apologize if I come up that way. To be real, I kind of didn't want to think about it much, but it became somewhat hard not to see you in my current circles. We can talk about it. We can talk if you have time, there's no rush, but at least knowing you are sorry is better than nothing. I cut contact once you made it clear that things were really negative between us. I think it was communicated poorly from my side at the time, but I didn't feel like I had a better way to do so. Legitimately felt it would be just a blip of something you could no longer cared about. I was going through a lot at the time. That infection I told you about when we were meeting ended up being an undiagnosed chronic condition, so in a way I didn't have a lot of mental energy to deal with it one way or another. As much as it would have been nice to genuinely feel like you were empathizing with my boundaries, it's hard to blame you for assuming I wouldn't want to talk. That said, as long as you were kind of understand I was upset about things, that would go a long way to make me feel closure. I don't want to bother you beyond that, especially if things can be amicable. Oh, so they're trying to get on his good side? Specifically, very vividly, I remember the line, you know you liked it. And that really just felt inappropriate. It would have been nice just to hear you say something more conscientious. Even just something like, but seriously, you didn't, I'm sorry, I'd want you to tell me. Boundaries like that are really important. It's starting to feel a bit like entrapment. Is there something you would like to discuss outside of trying to get me to say specific phrases? When I say I'm genuinely trying to give you my opinion or how it should have handled, I am being sincere in that it would not be good like if you felt that was an acceptable thing to do to somebody else in the future, or at least knowing that you cared enough to think about how it would have felt to me. I'm not sure what you were asking for in this interaction. It just feels like you're demanding me to say things. I'm just giving you exactly how I felt about the situation, hoping you understand why I feel that way. I'm not sure why that would be wrong. Can I reread that? Specifically, very vividly, I remember the line, you know you liked it, and that it felt inappropriate. I read that. Boundaries like that are really important. At the time, I was just happy to meet another game dev friend, and was even willing to be helpful and drive you around when you asked. That's pretty much all I'm asking. You didn't ask for anything. If some lines are blurred, there should be an effort to make them clear, and I feel like I was trying to give you verbal and physical indications of those, so to hear you kind of liked it kind of messed me up for a bit. So it doesn't sound like they're even asking for anything, but they're saying they are. This seems pretty confusing. I wonder, furry Sigma wolf behavior, true! I was normally going to let this issue die, but seeing other people have suffered from him makes me feel like I should bring my story forward. It's not okay for Thor to use his status to slander other people. Knowing he himself is not perfect in any way, I do not want to see other people suffer from his actions. This is just Maldavius fig tree. Ooh, that's not good. Let's not dox his Telegram name. It'd be good to make a post saying something about how your post has inspired others to come forward. At least that's how I feel. I really hate to see you harassed over what I think was a legitimately toxic relationship, especially knowing that Thor's behavior hasn't improved. This is in June 2024. So this is almost like a year ago. Oh, is that just the full screenshot? Yeah, okay. How do I exit? Oh, it's opened a new tab. Okay, that's why it fucked up. Some more notes at 11:31. I get why you would delete your messages. Refers to Thor deleting his Telegram messages with X after the incident. The recollection of Thor's Discord messages at 11:16 p.m. He basically deflected and said that he was hurt emotionally. I figured I wanted nothing to do with him. Okay. Yeah, so it's definitely hard to no. It's hard to take this in any kind of way, I think, for me at least. Cuz he definitely seems weird. You know you liked it is not a good thing to say after any kind of unpleasant sexual circumstance. That's a terrible thing to say. That is some Sigma grind bed behavior right there. Are there any updates? Additional incidents. That's just a guide. That's kind of insane. But there's definitely a lot of context missing, partly because of Thor deleting his Telegram messages, but also because I think the first like paragraphs make this come out to seem like almost like a one night stand or like a very casual relationship. But then it turns into I was driving Thor around for groceries and we had been together for a while. Not serious, but not casual either. Kind of in that in-between state. And also being like, I'm asexual, but also I have thick skin when it comes to casual sex is kind of weird. I do think it's hilarious that he doesn't wear shoes and that he tracks mud wherever he goes. The man literally leaves a fucking snail trail. That's kind of fucking epic. That's kind of fucking Sigma. But I'm gonna say it's like, it's another shot. It's another nail in the coffin, but it hasn't been hammered all the way. It just seems like it's one, too vague, two, just weird wording. Maybe it's like the person's personality, but it doesn't quite. It definitely seems like it happened for sure. There was definitely like a relationship going on, but it's sold as a short term and definitely doesn't seem like a short term. And to me, what that means is basically like, was this casual sex? Was this the first time you guys met? Because this is like our last interaction, but it kind of makes it almost seem like it's the first. It goes from they met to they're hooking up to having, well, they're going out together, but they're not like trying to have sex. It's so odd. I can totally believe that Thor has plenty of unpleasant sexual experiences, okay? That's not the hard part to believe. But, it seems super weird. I don't get it. Maybe we should read these messages. Oh, dude, this came off like a summary. There's actually new messages here. So this is the friend. So blue is friend, black is the person. Black is the person, dude. You should do it this way, but you need to be careful not to let him take advantage of you in conversation. He has more power than you in this situation, but he has a lot more to lose. For someone as internet he's pretty unconscious of his internet, actually, I think. As him, he has no choice but to listen if you level the allegations against him seriously and carefully, which did not happen here. I know, but it makes me feel so mean. Even though I didn't want to be in this situation, he put me here. Okay, but he sexually assaulted you. It's his fault in the first place. Did your friend convince you you were sexually assaulted? It feels so fucking bad, dude. I keep replaying that night in my head trying to find some good in him, but whenever I do, it's like, nope. Even without the fact he ignored my boundaries, he's kind of shit in general. Oh, and then we did read that, I think. I wish I wouldn't zoom in so much. So they definitely wait. I thought I just. Did Thor delete his messages? No, this is just a cutout of. Okay, this is so confusing. This is so poorly put together. I mean, good luck on the takedown, I guess, but I don't think this is substantial enough. I do kind of wonder if this person's gonna get sued. Not X, but Lyric. The person holding onto this site and boosting anonymous people. Wait, I just realized. So this happened on February 7th, 2021? And 2 years. That's 20. So June 2024 minus 2. Give it a fuzzy of 6. So this relationship probably went on for like 10 months. 10 months to almost 2 years is what I'm thinking. That's crazy. Wait. Dude, I feel like I have to process all this, and it's probably making the stream like bad to watch. So they met February 7th, 2021, right? Is that what this is saying? Otherwise, why is this date even here, right? So they met up on Howler. They hung out. And let's just have like an estimated time. Winter 2021 to 2022, right? Let's say November 21 to February 22. Thor dry humped this person's bed, I guess. And fucking blew all over it. And that was their last. Oh god, it's fuzzyified. Our last interactions. Plural. They had multiple interactions. So him doing the thing on the bed may not have even been like the last thing they did together. Oh my god, dude. I think this is too vague to take seriously. I think this is absolutely too vague to take seriously. Here's what I want to get corroborated. Do Pirate Software's other exes, can they corroborate that he doesn't wear shoes and leaves a snail trail of mud behind him? That's what I want to know. Jesus. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy, bro. Alright. I am definitely losing my mind. Losing my marbles. I expected that to be longer, honestly, but I don't want to start another video because I think the next Pirate Software video I have is like half an hour long. So I'm going to leave it here. I've been doing some shorter streams lately, but I've been starting late. Trying to fix it next week, maybe. But otherwise, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. I'll be back probably Tuesday.